and a bit of a superstar, is the CEO of Future Talent, Minhaz Abedin. Minhaz, thank you for
Hi,
joining
Jay.
us.
Thanks for such a warm introduction. Here we go.
Lovely to have you, and
Lovely to be here.
I'm glad we could do this because we
Yeah.
wouldn't have been able to do this tomorrow.
I think we only have a few hours left until we can do this again.
So, Minhaz, how have you managed to pack in so much in your young life already?
Well, I often tell people that I get bored easily, but it was simply because I found my purpose at a younger age, and growing up where I did, and seeing the things that I did, through my father and my mother's eyes, gave me a purpose that has been burning ever since. And now at 22,
So, what is that purpose?
it's impact. It's putting community and home above everything else. And my mother was a nursery teacher and a community leader. My dad was a youth worker and a community leader. And they empowered people every single day of their lives. And that's the fire that I have in my heart in every single thing that I do. Everything driven towards impact.
So, what's the biggest obstacle that faces young leaders today?
Our age, it's on the tin. I think for many young people, the early stage of their life is about exploration, trying to find themselves, educate themselves. But the big issue that we face across all parts of the world is that when young people try to set sail and go beyond what the ceiling quota is, they get held back and they get given reasons such as a lack of experience or a lack of training or a lack of knowledge. But in reality, if more people gave young people a chance, then I think the world would be better for it. But that's the biggest obstacle.
So, did you break that barrier because you had good mentors?
Definitely, definitely. I found, of course, from a young age, you're always taught that education is primary school, high school, university. But I found the biggest source of education for myself in my life was people. It was mentors, Jay. And I found inspiration everywhere that I went, and they helped me see past the ceilings. I didn't believe they existed, and that's how I've continued.
So, who were some of your mentors?
There's a number of them. It starts from my father when I was growing up, his selflessness and his everyday. And then it became people like my English teacher who taught me how to speak properly and how to write properly. And then there were mentors like Chris Arnold, who is the founder of Small Earth Group, who runs Camp Leaders. And he taught me how to speak in business, how to be quiet, which is the biggest skill that I learned, I think, and how to soak up information and then portray myself properly. And then people like you, Jay. I mean, there's people every day that I meet who inspire me and continue to coach me, and I don't think I'll ever stop learning.
So, how does this impact your friends and your community around you?
Well,
seeing what you're doing.
It's a big question. It's funny. People put a lot of labels on young people, and even for myself, right? I'm not just a leader or a CEO. I'm a young leader or a young CEO, right? But all that I see is that I was a good friend, a good brother, a good support for the people that needed it most. And when I was growing up, I had this community of like 3,000 young people, and I did everything that I could to give them more opportunities. It's why I lobbied Parliament and my MP. And as I got through my life, my early life, that home just got bigger. It went from 3,000 young people in my community to 180,000 young people in Leeds when I was in the House of Commons, and then 20 million young people when I was in the UN. And all that I tried to be for those young people is somebody who would listen, someone who would care and portray their opinions and their feelings without a filter. And maybe I was a little bit brash at times, but I got the point across, I think.
Yeah. So, what's been your most significant moment on your journey to becoming CEO?
That's a big question. It's a big question. It was the ability to be patient, and it was the ability to listen, as I said. The most significant moment for me was actually when I was in New York with the United Nations. I, at the time, was also running press for a charity called World Merit, and we were on this camp in Pennsylvania, and we had 300 delegates from around the world. And there's this gentleman called Ahmed Al-Indawi. He used to be the youth envoy to the United Nations, and he came, and I had to facilitate the press and the interviews for people like Ahmed. And so I sat there, I did what I had to do, and I made sure that he looked great on camera. 2 weeks later, I was flying back to New York, and sat across the table making policy decisions was Ahmed and I. I remember he looked at me and he just looked really confused. And I was like, "Is everything okay, Mr. Alandawi?" And he goes, "Yeah, I think I remember you from somewhere." And I was like, "Yeah, I was the young chap interviewing last week." And he laughed at me and he just goes, "Keep doing that. Always continue in that same way." And his whole lesson was humility. I have, because I was young, I was always willing to sit back behind the scenes, even if a week later I was going to be sat in the most powerful seats in the world. And that for me was my most significant moment, because I realized the power of being a young person.
But I also think that sometimes taking that back seat role, you obviously haven't done that. You've stepped forward and you're willing to confront and challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
So how do leaders today, how do they change in order to embrace the youth of tomorrow?
It's a great question. Look, when you read out my bio, which was really lovely, they're the headlines, they're the things that I do to the rest of the world. The reality is there's 100 steps that I have to do behind the scenes, behind the camera, every single day to fight as a young person who is now a leader and a CEO. And my biggest point to any young person or anybody coming through their life and wants to aspire to be something great, it's fundamentally never give up. Because young people they're disenfranchised constantly through their lives. They're told that they're not ready and that they're not able to reach where they want to go. The biggest piece of advice I give to any young leader is that keep pushing. Don't let anybody tell you no. And you'll always face obstacles every single day, but it's for those headlines, for those moments where you're stood in front of the people that you've dreamt of being in front of, makes everything worth it. And young people have to fight harder every single day to be a leader.
Yeah. So now tell us a little bit about your role as CEO of Future Talent.
Yes. Yeah. It's a lot of fun, Jay. Yeah. As you know, I am this. Yes. As you say, I'm the CEO of Future Talent, and we support gifted young musicians from low-income backgrounds. It is one of those roles where I wake up every single day full of this burning passion. That same passion I had when I was 10 years old outside the big gates in Parliament, right? And I wake up with that same kind of childish wildness to do good and to support the community.
But why a charity rather than your own business?
To be really candid,
to be motivated by the profit motive and everything else.
To be really candid, making money bores me. I think a lot of people go through their life and the motivation that they have is to make profit or to get a lot of money. I did that through my agency. I built a very successful business. We reached 500 million people in 3 years, opened up offices in London, and we were going to open offices in Germany. It bored me because really where my heart always belonged and where it always is meant to be is on the path towards impact. And my life ambition, and whatever everyone else's ambition is for them to decide, but mine was to create impact and to do good. And that's why not just a charity, but Future Talent is so special for me, because the team and I, Rob, Holly, Belinda, and our wonderful trustees and supporters, every single day we wake up with this one desire, and it's to make sure that the lives of our young musicians are changed and are better every single day. And being able to wake up and see that change in front of you, I don't think there's anything more empowering than that. And there's nothing that gives me, that kind of keeps that fire burning inside me.
That's great. So we've got a concert on
the
17th?
We do. We have a very special concert. It's been a very difficult year. And this year has thrown so many challenges on the entire industry, particularly the hospitality industry. And for us, as the performance element of what we offer as a charity has been severely, severely hit. And we thought, as you have at bench events, that's not going to stop us. We can still do something really great. So on the 17th of December, which is this Thursday, and for all of you watching, you can go to our website, futuretalent.org, and you can sign up. And it's a free event. For us, it's just a platform that we want to offer for our young musicians to perform. We have 6 amazing young musicians playing from 7 o'clock on Thursday. We have some of our ambassadors calling in. It's the epitome of what we do, and it's giving opportunities to those who need it most.
Excellent. Well, I must say it's a wonderful charity. One final question: is the world ready for the leadership of tomorrow?
No, it isn't, because when people start acknowledging that, that those leaders are here now, will be the day that things change. Because if people in position of power and influence, people with money, open their eyes, they realize that this world is populated with the most incredible minds, young minds right now. I'm very fortunate because I had this resilience that didn't make me stop. I had this fire inside me, but every single day, young people have those fires put out, constantly put down, and told that tomorrow is the day where they can be something special. But the reality is, they're ready now. If more people, such as yourself and the fantastic board at Future Talent, if more boards and more people in power gave resonance and gave belief in young people like me, they would do incredible things. Because the people who are most invested in what happens tomorrow are the young people of today. Because that's the world that they have to grow up in and raise their children in and be a part of. If you give them the keys today, they'll do everything because that's their biggest vested interest, right?
Sure.
That's how I think.
Oh, that's great. Now, what about tomorrow? What for yourself? Where do you see yourself going in the next 10 years?
Wow, where do I see myself in the next 10 years? It's a big question, Jay. Well, I simply don't know. It's the truth. I never really do know. All the way through my career, people have always asked me, like, you must see, like the matrix of what your life's going to be. I don't. I have no idea. All I know is that in the next 50, 60, 70, however long my life will be, I want to have helped 1 million refugee kids go through education. If I can accomplish that, then I'll be happy. However I get there, I think that's part of the fun, right?
That's an amazing goal.
Thanks.
Amazing goal. No, well, listen, Minhaz, our time has run out,
Wow,
but thank you so much
Pleasure.
for joining us, and it's great that you were able to join us.
Thanks, Jay.